you guys, yeah, go for it. You guys saw a lot of baseball last week and then some games yesterday. So, yeah, get right into it.
Yeah, I can jump in first. And one more thing about the pitching velo. We're excited to see some velo in the zone, okay? Throwing strikes, of course. But Lincoln Way East, they beat, like I said earlier, Maine South 4 to nothing. So just some takeaways from that. Colin Bettenhausen, uncommitted junior to no, threw it really well. Just allowed one hit in his 2 innings, no runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. He was, pitching low 80s. Very solid. It was a cold day. It was like 40 degrees. So not worried about really what the radar gun's saying right now. But 82 to 84, really good changeup. Threw it whenever he wanted, and it had good diving action to it. Mixed in a curveball as well with big 11-5 shape. And then another uncommitted junior I had was Tyler Osmanski. Threw it really well over his 3 innings of work. Didn't allow a hit or a run. Didn't walk anybody and struck out 2. Just a really good mover with a clean arm. Working at 83, 84. We've seen him firmer than that, but cold day. Curveball changeup mix, dynamic. Good shape to both of them. So really good, solid 3-pitch mix there. And then Ryan Flanagan, he popped on the mound to close it out. Senior going to Rock Valley. Really dynamic lefty. Like the arm was really working. Quick arm. Up to 86 with a slider. Struck out 2 in his inning of work. Just a loud look on a cold day. But I was a big fan of just the position guys they got sprinkled around the field. Evan Riff, a junior going to Valpo. Just very, very fundamentally sound shortstop. Like the swing, like the bat. Finished 1 for 3 with a double. One of the better shortstops in the state. And then Rocco Triolo, known as a catcher, maybe primarily, but playing right field. The arm was strong out there, looked the part. The frame looks like it's added some strength as well, and he showed that at the plate. Barreled a double to left field. So one to know there, uncommitted junior. Another uncommitted junior, Casey Mickret, playing second base. Another just very fundamentally sound infielder with a clean, compact swing. Field finished 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored and a walk. Just, him and Riff up the middle. Very solid punch there. Really good duo. That's part of the reason why I like them so much. Is very reliable. And then Matthew Safarik, an uncommitted senior, had a great day at the plate. Finished 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Simple swing, just like the way it worked. Scrappy at bats all game. Just one of those kids that is a good ball player. And then from Maine South, I liked Jack Giannikos. They kind of went to a bunch of different arms throughout the game, so some brief looks at these guys. But Jack Giannikos, John A. Logan commit, senior, one of the higher upside arms in the state. He's like 6'4", 180-ish. Really elastic, good mover. Up to 87, 88. The slider flashed wipeout, late bite to it. So he'll be one that I think in the coming years will really make some jumps and will have a chance to, be a high-level guy out of John A. there. And then Henry Murphy, a sophomore from Maine South. So super sophomore standout for us, Tyler. We've liked him a lot over the years. He was 80-83. Just another big fan of the way it works. Clean mover, not a ton of effort. The arm really works. 80-83, good slider. Just competed in the zone. Wasn't scared. He's a sophomore playing against a really good team with a good offense and was not scared, not, trying to just pick around the zone. He was just going after guys. So love to see that. And then Evan Adamczewski, a Northern Illinois commit, one of the better bats that we've seen in the recent months, like Illinois State games MVP, and it's just a lot of the same in game. Like the bat to ball is really good. It's really good. The field to hit, like field to use the whole field. He can see spin. He's on time. He can adjust. Like I saw him go the other way and flip a ball for a double. So just a big fan of the way that kid handles himself in the box. Love the swing. Good player. So yeah, that was kind of a lot of talking. I'm gonna let one of you guys go in next here.
Well, I can touch on my games from last week. Talked a little bit on last week's podcast about seeing Downers Grove North beat Oswego East. I mean, the story of that game was Colin Doyle. Touched on him a lot during last week's pod, so I'm not going to go too hard on him here, but really looked the part. Like, we jumped him in our rankings, in our 2027 rankings quite a bit, and he backed all of that up in person. But, another winner for DGN, in my opinion, was Antonio Russo Tiesi, left-handed hitting third baseman for the Trojans. Just a really hitterish presence in the box. Like, really like how the swing works, his approach at the plate. Hammond, I know you were a fan of the video. I tweeted out in game. He was getting results in game, so wanted to shout him out as well. But probably the top matchup I saw was Saturday. Saw number 5 Mount Carmel take on then at the time number 13 Lockport. And Mount Carmel won that game 4-2. Like, with the Caravan, like, the story of that game for me were the arms. Seeing left-handed pitcher Ian Tosi toe the rubber. He missed all last year with an injury, and honestly, I was just pumped to see him pitching again. He's been a fan favorite of this podcast for a while now. Just the pitchability, and there's that pitchability was still there. As someone who's been through, an arm injury in my career, like, it takes a little bit for everything, for you to feel like yourself again, but also just for your arsenal to crisp back up and get, to maybe where it was. Like, and I'm not saying this to bang on Ian. Like, I just felt like his off speed wasn't as crisp as what it was pre-injury, but that's going to come. Like, he's building up. He threw 1 inning last week, or in his first start, which was probably 2 weeks ago now, and 2 innings on Saturday. And, like, he looks really good. Like, he's moving right. Fastball's coming out good. It was 85 to 87, but it was pretty cold over there at Mount Carmel. You're basically right off South Lake Shore Drive there, getting that wind off the lake and everything. So still really like Ian. Loved what I saw. Can't wait to see what he looks like towards the end of the year as he, continues to feel like himself again. But right-handed pitcher Connor Tenney came in after him. 2026 going to Notre Dame. Still really like Connor. Like, the fastball, man, when it's in the zone, like, it's really good. He was up to 91 for me with the fastball. Thought he navigated trouble well on the bases. It got a little hairy there at the end of the game, and he showed a ton of composure to get him out of the jam and secure that victory for the Caravan. And also, like, on Lockport's side, like, Anthony Farina was a big winner for me. Left-handed arm, uncommitted, 2027 out there for any schools listening. Man, he's such a fun pitcher to watch. Like, it's very throwback style. Like, man, he switches tempos on the mound. He, changes deliveries on the mound. He'll quick pitch you. He'll do the hesitation in the delivery. And, like, he pitches backwards too. And, like, maybe I have a soft spot for that because, like, I had to basically pitch that way, but that was because I didn't have any velo, and Anthony's got, more velo than even I had. But he's a low 80s arm. But really changes speeds well. Like, that's a really good lineup he's facing over there at Mount Carmel. And, like, his first inning, man, he struck out the side, like, against 3 of the better hitters in the entire state, for some of those guys, maybe in the entire country. So want to give him a shout out. Like, I thought he battled well. He pitches with emotion and fire, which I love to see. You can tell he cares, and really liked what I saw with Anthony. And then Drew Satunis, catcher for Lockport, a guy I've long been a fan of ever since I saw him play in game last spring. Just really looks the part behind the dish, man. He's a vocal leader, really, commands the game well, manages the game well from behind the dish, and left-handed hitter, man. And I know I've said this because kind of saw it at senior future games, man. He's that guy you hate pitching against because he just will not get out quick. He works long at bats and fouls off a bunch of tough pitches. So want to shout out Drew as well. But that's what I have from Saturday. Nick, I feel like we should let you talk here on but I think we're going to touch on our games from last night.
Yeah, and Tyler, I just wanted to get in there on a couple things. Like, you mentioned Tosi, you mentioned how he was moving, and that's what I saw in the video. Like, it looked really athletic, really clean. And the fact that he is 85, 87, this fresh off surgery, like, that is such a good sign. So I thought you nailed it. Like, seeing what he, continues to progress, come playoff time, what is he going to look like? Like, it looks like a true ace. He's always been an absolute bulldog on the mound ever since he was throwing quality innings as a freshman. And Farina, like, I think I mentioned it on our call, like, I thought my video, was almost maybe like glitching, because of like the quick pitches that'll mix in there and the timing and all that stuff. But another just really good mover, with a clean arm, and I love what I saw out of Farina there. And then Pete was mentioning Evan Adamczewski, and I just wanted to throw in a nugget because yesterday, and talk about like looking through daily roundup stuff. Pete really liked him in his game, but then yesterday in a win, he goes 3 for 3 with a double and 2 home runs. So just wanted to shout that out. And we mentioned NIU at the start of this podcast and how they're playing really good baseball right now. Like he's a pretty recent NIU commit as well. So, no, you guys are seeing some good stuff, and feel free to move forward with whatever games you want to touch on here.
I'll go. Yeah, yesterday I got the honor to see a top 10 matchup between number 3 Libertyville and number 10 McHenry. Libertyville took the win in a 3-0 game. It wasn't the best for hitters yesterday. The wind was blowing in pretty heavy, and then you got Caden Wozniewski on the mound for McHenry and Chase Lockwood on the mound for Libertyville. So two 90s arms, D1 arms with wind blowing in isn't the best for the offense, but one guy on offense that stood out for me was leadoff hitter for Libertyville, Matthew Hara. He's uncommitted. He's currently ranked 160 for us. Played right field yesterday. He was really patient at the plate with some bat speed. He worked counts throughout the game, and he was using the whole field consistently. He led off the bottom of the first inning off Wozniewski with a line drive single to right center, and then I think he had a ground ball single to left later in the game, but he had 2 hits and scored a run. Definitely an uncommitted name for some schools to follow in the junior class. Axel McKnight, he DH'd yesterday. He's a 2027 for Libertyville. Currently ranked 42 for us. He drove in the first run of the game in the second inning. Definitely showed the ability to catch up to the velocity. He's got a really loose athletic swing. He had an RBI single, like I said, in the bottom of the second inning. And then I'll get into Chase Lockwood, 2026, committed to Illinois State. I mean, the performance by him it was dominance throughout from the first inning all the way to the seventh. He threw a complete game, allowing 5 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and struck out 6. He was consistently missing barrels. I mean, he was landing all of his pitches for strikes. The fastball was 87 and 90 with over 2,400 plus RPMs. Curveball was in the mid-70s with 12-6 shape and some pretty hard bite. And he showed a really hard slider at 82 to 84 with over 2,600 RPMs. He was landing that. I mean, he got a lot of strikeouts on the slider, just throwing it low and out, and it was biting. Kids were swinging at it. It really worked. And then the changeup was 80 to 83. He handled that solid lineup pretty efficiently and limited the damage throughout the game. But I was really impressed with Lockwood's performance. And I know we kind of talked about him earlier, and you guys had mentioned that his velo has ticked up recently too. So, I mean, I think in the 6th or the 7th inning, he was still 87, 86 to 88 around there. So he definitely held the velo. And then Ryan Wilberding, he was a future gamer for us. He's going to Marshall. He looked the part behind the plate. He didn't have a hit yesterday, but his at-bats were pretty quality at-bats. Definitely showed some advanced barrel feel with some loose and quick hands. He did turn on a foul ball against Wozniewski. It was like 90, 92. Turned on it and hit it a mile foul, but definitely was hunting the fastball and showed the ability to hang with the velo. For McHenry, obviously Caden Wozniewski got the start. He's going to Louisiana State. He's the top player in our 27 class. He's the third right-handed pitcher ranked right-handed pitcher in the nation. His fastball was 89 to 92. He topped 93 early with some pretty high spin rates, 2,600 plus, with some ride through the zone. He showed a slider in the mid to upper 70s with really sharp bite. Slider was really working yesterday when he was throwing it near the zone, and then changeup had some fading action in the low 80s. He's obviously one of the top players in the country, and as we get through the year more and more, he'll start to settle in. Another uncommitted senior that stood out for me for McHenry was Nathan Neidhart. He's an outfielder, left-handed pitcher. At the plate, he had a wide stance. I mean, he's really balanced. He didn't have a hit, but he put together some good at-bats and definitely is someone to watch. And then on the mound, he came in relief for Wisniewski, and he was up to 83 from the left side, and he had a shorter curveball that played in the low 70s and showed a slider between. There was actually a difference between the slider and the curveball. A lot of kids say they'll have both, and there's not much of a difference, but there was definitely a noticeable difference for him. He's definitely an arm to follow. And then Carver Cone, top player in our 28 class. He was hitting second, playing center for McHenry. He also did not have a hit yesterday, but again, going against Lockwood, it's not an easy task to get a hit off of him, but he did barrel a fly ball to right field that would have been a home run every other day of the week with the wind blowing in, and he was robbed at the wall. But I mean, he was handling the velo throughout the game. He's definitely going to be a fun name to follow throughout his high school career. But yeah, it was a good game, good matchup. Two really good pitchers, and overall got pretty good looks at two of the top 10 teams in the state.
We got a little mixed bag here on games yesterday because I know Pete's game the wind was blowing straight out, and your game the wind was blowing straight in. But I wanted to touch. I mean, you mentioned Chase Lockwood, and it just absolutely fires me up listening to the fact that he was 87-90 because we have long loved Chase Lockwood. First off, just the Lockwood clan that's come through. Like, he's the third of the brothers. The other two are, Division I athletes at Valparaiso. With Cole, like, playing as a freshman at second base, and Connor being one of their main arms for the last couple of years. But getting back to Chase, like, I pulled up his profile as you were talking because I just want to look at it. And we invited him to the Future Games back in 2024. And he was topping at 84 miles an hour, which if you look at traditionally like who goes to the Future Games, the velos tend to be a lot harder than that. But we've always loved the movement patterns, the starter profile. He can really spin a breaking ball. He throws a ton of strikes. And we thought people needed to see him at the Future Games despite this, topping at 84. That velo comes, for everybody at a different age, but he could always really pitch, and the starter profile for me, like, really set it, separated him. So to see that he's pitching at 87-90 now, holding the velo, like, it warrants a big jump in our rankings. And it just fires me up for Chase and his future and Illinois State. He's an Illinois State commit. Man, they're getting a good one here, who I don't think he's going to slow down anytime soon as far as that velo is concerned. So, no, and you kind of said it. You got to see two top 10 teams in the state. You got to see two number one prospects in the state in respective classes. I mean, McHenry has the number one 2027 right now and the number one 2028. So good stuff there, Nick. And I will pass it along, but I wanted to touch on that because that fired me up when you put out the tweet on Lockwood and we were chatting about it, the fact that he was 87-90. And just for Libertyville, like, just elevating their ace to another status along with the Brady Bunicks of the world is also awesome for their team.
No, Drew, I'm glad you brought up the Future Game story because if you didn't, I was going to because I think it's incredible with Chase. Like, he's a great kid. Like you said, we had him down at the Future Games and getting to be around him. Like, he's a really good kid too. So shout out to Chase there. Hammond, I'll save your pipes just for a little bit longer because I know you did get the marathon game last night. So for me last night, I got to see number one team St. Lawrence take on Marist, and it was at Marist. And Drew, I think you might have taken Marist in one of our previous best field drafts in Illinois, and I love the setup there. It was my first time being there, but I think Coach Sefcik's got a great setup over there at Marist. But regardless, saw St. Lawrence take down Marist 11-5. Couple big winners for me, and with all these games, we probably should have mentioned it from the jump. Check out our scout blog. We will write extensive notes on, even more guys than what we touch on here. I speak for all of us when I say that, but regardless, a couple big winners for me from last night. The first one being left-handed arm, Colin Lawler, 2028 out of Marist. He's highly ranked for us currently right now. I want to say he's number 6 in the state for that 2028 class, and really looked the part. I don't think afterward I could have been a bigger fan. listen, we had him at super sophomore games. He pitched his tail off. He got called up on varsity, I think, early on last year for Marist, and really performed all spring long as a freshman. And, you know, the ESCC, which is probably not the easiest conference to pitch in as a freshman. So shout out to him there. But, like, watching him pitch last night, like, you almost have to look beyond the stat line, because, like, it's not the sexiest stat line in the world. Like, he gave up 3 runs over 4 innings, but to me it's like the context, right? He's pitching against the number 1 team in the state right now in St. Lawrence, which is a lineup full of seniors and juniors that can all bang the baseball. And just loved his demeanor on the mound. Like, not to take away from, like, my personal tweet I had on him, like, man, the ability to just compete in the zone against a team like that, and, like, his poise on the mound was, like, incredible for a sophomore. You know, there's a point in the game, he gives up a loud solo bomb to Tristan Steger, right, going to Kentucky, and I'll touch on him later, but following Steger in that lineup is Corey Less, you know, 2026 going to Louisville, another, you know, super talented left-handed bat, and he goes right at Corey Less, right? There's, like, no emotion after he gives up the home run. You know, at that time, it brought St. Lawrence within 1 run of the game. It was 4-3 at that time after that homer. It was like, whatever. Like, I'm just going to go make more pitches now. He goes right at Corey Less, eventually gets him to fly out, and he makes it out of that inning. And I was just really impressed. You know, his fastball was 84 to 86. We've talked about how deceptive his fastball plays. It's, you know, it's a deceptive, like, 2-seam through the zone, and it gets swings and misses in zone too. And again, against that lineup, like, you know, it's got some carry to it as well. Like, against that lineup to get swings and misses on your fastball in the zone, I think says a lot. You know, and his slider was 78 to 80. And one thing, like, I love about his breaking ball is that he throws it to both lefties and righties. You know, I know a big thing with breaking balls, especially at a young age, like, you're almost afraid to throw it to, like, the opposite handedness because it breaks in towards them. Like, you know, for a righty, you don't want to, sometimes they don't throw their breaking ball against lefties, right? They're more prone to throw it to a righty. With lefties, you know, vice versa. But he throws it to both sides of the dish, right? To righties and lefties. I really like that pitch. We've seen him show changeups to us before him. We were kind of talking about it off the record. Like, he showed us a real changeup at super sophomores last summer, so we know he has that in there as well. So that's pretty long-winded on Lawler, but man, I was very, very impressed with him. But moving down, Tristan Steger, 2027 catcher, going to Kentucky, very highly rated for us in the 27 class, and looked like the best player on the field, right? Which is kind of what you want to see out of a guy that highly touted. But I love the bat, the left-handed bat. Like, yeah, he hit the homer to dead center. That was impressive, but, like, maybe the more impressive at bat for me was later in the game. The game is still kind of somewhat close at the time he's got runners in scoring position, and obviously, like, you know, he can bang the baseball, right? So it would make sense for guys like that to maybe sell out for, like, doing damage and swinging for the fences, right? Like, the wind yesterday was blowing straight out to right field. He gets a tough pitch to hit and just, you know, flicks his wrists out, sends it into right field to bring home 2 runs, and just really impressed with the approach. And then defensively, like, he looks the part there as well. Like, I like how he receives the ball, especially balls low in the zone, like, really tries to, like, sell it. He didn't probably get as many as he wanted, but love how he receives. We know the arm plays back there as well. Didn't get many opportunities in game to kind of show that off. And I'm sure that's a respect thing out of Maris there, not testing him a ton, but really like what I saw out of Tristan. Throughout that lineup, man, like, Lawrence has dudes. Mickey Lotus, I remain to be a big fan on. I thought his defense, like, the actions there, they've been good. I thought they've gotten even better over there at second base. And then with Mickey, like, the foot speed's just, like, incredible. He hit a couple ground balls that, you know, for anybody else is probably a routine ground ball out. Now with Mickey, it's, like, so impressive. So I got to see him both from the right side and the left side because he's a switch hitter. But his foot speed down the line is impressive. I was getting 4.1s from both sides. So want to shout Mickey out there, man. Like, you hit a ground ball, like, to anybody that faces Lawrence, you better get rid of that ball quick when Mickey's the one hitting it, because, man, can he fly. And then Corey left-handed bat, really like the swing, man. It plays. And also on Maris, Tommy Hosty, 2027 outfielder, uncommitted, was a big winner for us at our All-State event. I got to see him on the mound. He was running up to 90 or 91, one or the other. I can't fully remember there, but seeing the left-handed bat, which it's funny, I saw him in this same exact game last year. Maris, it was at St. Lawrence. He showed well for me there off a tough left-handed arm, and in this game, his first at bat shows me a really good swing where he gets a double, which led to a 4-run inning for Maris for them to jump out in front early in that game, but also plays really good defense out in the outfield as well. So those are just a few guys. Like I said, we'll touch on a lot more in our scout blog, but just off the dome, those are some of my bigger takeaways.
Yeah, you mentioned we saw the number 127, the number 128. Well, I saw the number 129 in Paris Head. So I had Lane Tech. We got them number 23 right now. It was someone said marathon. That's exactly the way to say it. 17-14 win back and forth, 9 innings, 4 hours. It was a festival of baseball for sure. But Paris Head, yeah, I mean, obviously, you watch him play and the instincts are there and the way he moves, like the movement patterns are there. But it's just like when you're breaking down those top guys, it's like, who has it? Who is the guy that wants the moment on him, and who feeds off that type of stuff? And Paris Head is that kid. He is not scared of the moment. He's a freshman on varsity playing he has not had a slow start. He's been playing, he's been doing well. Coach Freeman, he's had the pleasure of having, Sushi Wilson before he went to IMG, Dodger Frederick. So he's had these really high-level underclassmen come through, and he said Paris Head is right there with him from just a performance and a prospect status type kid. But yeah, he's a real shortstop. There's actions, there's instincts, there's feel, there's foot speed, there's arm strength, and then the swing. You watch the swing. It really works. It's loose and fluid. He took great at-bats. On time. Was on time for upper 80s at the top of the zone, fouling it off, spoiling. The kid just has an overall feel to his game. And then he hopped on the mound and was 88, 89 with an electric fastball and a super athletic delivery with a really sharp curveball to go along with it. So, I mean, it's so early. I don't know, what he's going to be down the line. He's both. You know what I mean? He's a shortstop and a pitcher. He is a special talent. And it was my second time seeing him, but my first time I really got to lock in on him for a while in person, and he's the real deal, man. But kind of going more down the list here, we'll start with Lane Tech. Tanner Toback, a guy that Coach Freeman really likes. Just a good ball player, uncommitted junior, played third base, just competitive at bats with clear knowledge of the strike zone, didn't expand, not a lot of swing and miss, just a solid baseball player. Alex Ziegler, a Grinnell commit, and then Zolan Wyatt, an Oshkosh commit. Both kind of some thumpers in the middle of that lineup. They both homered. And Zolan Wyatt, I mean, he put up some of the biggest exit velocities we've seen at the state games. I believe he was up to about 108. So he's got huge juice. The frame's pretty unreal. He's 6'3" and strong, and there's more room to add there. And then Ziegler, another one, it's a projectable frame with juice. He's going to add more strength as he gets older. But Eric Acevedo, another one that Coach Freeman really likes, second baseman. Like the actions. Him and Paris Head up the middle is a really good duo. And looks the part at the plate, too. It's a clean right-handed swing hitting out of their 2-hole. Miles Mazanowski, 2027, playing first base. A really physical, I saw him walk up to the field. I was like, who the heck is that? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's Miles. Just really looks the part. There's a ton of strength in the bat, too. Was on the barrel a couple times. And then kind of on the mound, I mean, it was a terrible day to pitch. It was blowing out. Anyone that's ever been to Loyola, it's you're literally on a hill. they call it the hill, and the wind was just howling out. So the lines for most of these pitchers were not great, but Ronan Owens was huge out of the pen, just for the overall game and like the moment he was in. 3 innings pitched, no earned runs, just 1 hit. Came in super clutch. Like it was a huge spot. It was the bottom of the 7th inning. Loyola had already pushed 1 run across to tie the game. And it was bases loaded with nobody out, and he got out of it to send it to extras. So the game, most like 99% of the time, is ending right there. In one way or another, however it happens, right? Hit, error, whatever, walk, he gets out of it. So huge spot for him. Really clutch. Definitely played a huge part in them winning that game. And then Loyola, Bennett Kono, a sophomore, playing shortstop. So really speaks to how highly they feel of him over there and hitting towards the top of their order. 2 for 5 on the day with an RBI and a run score. Just a steady defender at shortstop, reliable. Like you can, set it and forget it, and you'll feel good about him over there. And then Anthony Reavy, a 2026, big fan of the way that kid just handles himself in the box. Physical left-handed hitter. Showed bat to ball, like used the whole field. It was a mature approach, and I like the way the swing works as well. Another one, Sebastian Urbanowski, a junior. There was just bat speed, just something that stood out immediately. Just the bat speed, and it's flat, and there's juice. Keeping it simple, like don't overthink it. Like kids like that are usually going to hit. But there was a ton of home runs yesterday. Teddy Kurtzwell, 2026, homered twice. Anthony Revy homered. Jack Kaplan, a junior, homered. Rob Klingon, a senior, homered. And Urbanowski homered as well. So a ton of offense, and a really exciting back and forth game that Lane Tech ended up winning 17-14.